All right. Now let's look at some vinyl pickups and other stuff and goodies that we got from Patrick's Books and Records right on 19, right before the bridge in Newport Richey, Florida. Definitely the place to go get vinyl memorabilia, all sorts of stuff. We've done a video on it. We'll link you to it. It's a great place to definitely get hooked up if you're in the area. Now, one of the cool things, this was the last tour that I saw with Aerosmith. This was the Nine Lives tour. Um, I didn't I didn't get a concert book of it, um, but it's pretty cool looking through it. They have like little things about, all the albums, info about, every album that came out, Done with Mirrors, um, Night in the Ruts or Right in the Nuts, Rock in a Hard Place. I mean, you know, some cool picks. Uh, Definitely was, um, that was kind of the end of um, my really paying attention to what um, Aerosmith was up to. I even had gems, man. I remember that. Yeah, these are basically all the albums. Pump, Get a Grip, all the albums leading up to that. Greatest Hits, Pandora's Box. I would love to find that again, in this form with the booklet and everything. For anybody, up there on this stuff. Now we got some cool. Um, let's see if we get this down a little bit. This is an album I had been looking for, and I had asked him about for a while, and he hadn't got it in. And of course, people are constantly going in there selling records and stuff like that. And what did I find? And it was funny because he said, "I think you might want to look through that pile right there in front of me." And I started looking through the pile, and I started pulling them out, and this was one of the first things I pulled out. This is basically like every Charlie Daniels song that you've ever heard or liked or ever heard on the radio, and then some. I saw Charlie Daniels in concert when I was a kid. Um, like I said before, he was like that crossover from country to rock. Um, he even played with Leonard Skinner, or a form of them, for quite a while, in fact. And um, he's done songs of theirs and stuff for years. He's been involved with Leonard Skinner. Um, but yeah, that was definitely an album. I had that on CD at one time. Yeah, great album. And this album right here, Kansas. This is the one with Dust in the Wind. But it's got a ton of greats on it. And what's cool too is it's got the original inlay and all that stuff. Awesome art. They've always they've always had awesome art of some sort on their albums. And I was talking earlier, I think that's another reason vinyl might be coming back, and they're selective with the bands that they really want to push the vinyls, because vinyl's big, takes up shelf space, and it catches your eye. And there's a lot of newer vinyl collectors, that are also looking for some older stuff. One that you're definitely not going to find at Walmart or even that last Kansas album. Scorpions World Tour, Worldwide Live. This album is phenomenal. This is basically um a greatest hits live. And I think one of the funny things, I always thought that was cool how they did that when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, bring it. But when you like, see, he's really short, so it was it almost had to be done. But yeah, it's got everything on it that you would want from Scorpions, and then some. I have another live Scorpions, an older live like Tokyo um, album of theirs. They're an excellent live band. Um, one of yeah, Germany's best. That's come out. That's still rocking, and still touring and doing their thing. Now, some older collectors might remember when the '80s was doing like these greatest hits. They were like the stairwell greatest hits, where they were looking down, and each album cover they had like red ones, blue ones, and all that, and they were from different time periods. The Rolling Stones did something similar. This is basically all the hits from 1964 to 1971. Um, and it's got all the older ones. Obviously, it doesn't have like "Start Me Up" and all that. That didn't come until like "Tattoo You" and um, all that good stuff. But "Mother's Little Helper," all the goodies that you would. "Time Is on My Side," "Wild Horses." I mean, just goes on and on. This is another one of those albums that you put it on and you let it go. All of these, and that's how I pick my albums. Like, do I want to spend the money on something that's I'm just gonna want a couple songs on, for vinyl? Do I want to, even go through the trouble for just a couple songs? Um, these are the ones that you do, and you want to really appreciate on vinyl. And I'm not like the biggest Stones fan, but I like older Rolling Stones, and this is the perfect album to get for those people that know the Stones songs they like, or they want, they're not particularly a Stones fan, but they like a lot of Rolling Stones songs. You know what I mean? Perfect. It's a greatest hit. Another one that serves as a greatest hits is Eagles Live. Um, this this was already when they had a kind of a rearranging of some members and such, but still the set list on this: Hotel California, Heartache Tonight, The Long Run, oh, my eyes are so bad. It goes on and on. They're all, yeah, every one of these is just excellent songs. Um, you definitely, if you're gonna get on Eagles, is the Eagles' greatest hits with like the fish picture thing. That's one to get, and this live album. Um, they were a great band live, and they always had been. And this is a great album to have. Um, if you, yeah, take it to the limit. I mean, yeah, it just goes on. Desperado. Um, yeah, it's the album to get. If you are a um Eagles fan and you like to take it easy. Yeah, excellent. Now we got some metal, but it's the metal. Black Sabbath original album. I don't know how many times I've owned this. This is a second run. It's on a reissue. It's you know they got first runs, second runs. They're still printed from the same master and all that. They're just not the first run, but they're still the same album. It's just collectors can be kind of particular about those things. This girl just had a birthday. You know, she was quite the young lady here actually when this was taken. But yeah, she just had a birthday not too long ago, I believe. Yeah, this is the Black Sabbath album. This album, though, to really describe this album is yeah, there's a lot of metal that defined what metal um is and really help set the stage, so to speak, pun completely intended. It's also a jazz album. It you when you listen to this whole thing, anybody that's been a Black Sabbath fan long enough, that when you listen to this whole album, especially on its second side, it really presents as more of a jazz album. I mean, even NIB, um, you know, even the way it comes off with like the bass solo and everything, these are all like kind of jazzy inspired things, and I think it's really cool that it's like it's really metal jazz in a way. But either way, very cool find. Very happy to stumble across it just as I have the one more greatest hits album that you have to have. And I have a fun fact about this. Black Sabbath, Sold Our Souls to Rock and Roll. This is from this album's a good 20, 30 years old, whatever. It's got this used to freak me out as a kid. But it's got yeah, that thing. Yeah, used to freak me out. Um, this is basically the best of Aussie Sabbath that you're gonna get for a greatest hits album. You can argue with me as much as you want. They got new stuff I know that they've come out with, but fun fact about this album: when it got digitized and they made it for CD, they took a song out. They took Laguna Sunrise out of because of they didn't have enough space. It's a 2 album, and you would think with digital, oh, so much more space. Not quite enough. So it's funny now. I know they had special editions where they had, and you could, there was extras, and I remember seeing those. And I think I even had one where I had like a 2 disc setup of Sold Our Souls to Rock and Roll. But the original, just one CD version of this, only it did not have Laguna Sunrise in order to make space for the rest of the album. Pretty Pretty neat when you think about it. Kind of funny to see that there's more music on the vinyl than there would be on the CD. And last but not least, I know this guy has made himself to be quite the asshat, and I had a little story to go along with this. And I didn't realize it at the time, but now I picked up this album. I got it, a couple bucks. Um, this is another greatest hits. It's got, all the Layla, the original version, a bunch of songs that I grew up with. And it's more of a nostalgia thing. Now, as Clapton went on, being a younger kid, knowing, oh, he's one of the best guitarists, blah, 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 um, that, he was this inspiration. And there was things that he did that I picked up on listening to his music and stuff and watching him play and stuff like that. But then finding out, that, oh, turns out he's actually a douche knuckle, which, look, we find that out about a lot of artists, don't we? We find out that, come to find out, they are not the people that we think they are. Even with, Steven Tyler and the stuff he's got going on. And you could say, oh, well, all that situation was a product of its time. It still doesn't mean it was right, but it's still, that's the thing about the music. You don't necessarily have to enjoy the artists, or, enjoy them personally or like them personally to still enjoy the music and the memories that have come with it. Now, I told you I was going to tell you a story. Now, in the 90s, I remember that Eric Clapton came out with this album, and I think it flopped or whatever, and it was one of B.B. King's last, hurrahs, and I think he may have came out with an album after that, or maybe two. But Eric Clapton made an album with B.B. King called Riding with the King. And there was even a video that came out with Eric Clapton driving this old convertible type car, and B.B. King's in the back with Lucille, playing along. Anybody that doesn't know, Lucille is the name of B.B. King's guitar. And there's a whole story behind that as well. But anyway, not to get too off track, at the time, I never really understood it. But I think what was really happening behind the scenes was we have to make sure that we clean up your image a little bit because of some bullshit you just said. And, I could be totally wrong. I could be totally, but looking back at it now with hindsight, hindsight's always 2020. It's very, suspicious that, he would, I know he's talked about B.B. King before in interviews and stuff like that, which is, weird about, the stuff that he said and all this. I really, again, I just thought it was a funny thing that came to my mind that, wow, it's like sometimes when you look back, you realize that, well, no wonder these albums came out and they're really, it was like, why are they making an album together? And wow, what for? And there might have been ulterior motives to it, but I also think that, Eric Clapton did look up to BB King, because I believe I've heard him, say it on occasions. Now, all that being said, these are some awesome picks I got from Patrick's Books and Records, but you need to go out and support your local record stores. Okay, when when bands are putting out new music, they're not trying to sell it to record stores anymore. They're selling it to department stores, Urban Outfitters, Walmart. None of these places are record stores. At Walmart exclusives to try to, it's like to think in the future there will be a Walmart exclusive that may be worth more money than the regular album. I don't know. I know that it's good for the newer generation to be able to get their hands on some nice, crisp, brand new vinyl of the older music. I just I hope that with a lot of the remasters and all that, that we are really, doing just that and not just stamping that label on it and calling it even. And that's why a lot of collectors, they want to go to the source, they want to go to the beginning, because they know those albums are for real. That came from the original master. It didn't come from a copy of a copy. It came from the source. Yeah, I think that's important to a lot of people and even younger collectors. And I think that's why we need to support independent artists. Independent, not only independent artists, but independent store owners that are, doing these things and taking on all this surplus amount of albums and such. I collect some Star Trek stuff. Two of those vinyls on the wall I wouldn't even have if it wasn't for Patrick's Books and Records. So definitely, if you're in the area, support that place. But in any area you're in, support the places that are selling the vinyl, especially the older stuff, and keeping it alive. Yeah, awesome finds. What do you think?